We think of Professor J.V. Mendoza, I should say late Professor J.V. Mendoza, and his beautiful choir there singing this beautiful piece. Hopefully, it's beautiful music that introduces us to an inspiring slot. It is our reflection page. Up next, reflection page here on Salve VICINUS.
Bonjour, chers fidèles téléspectateurs de Divine Mercy Television et bienvenue une fois de plus à notre traditionnelle rencontre matinale Salve Vincinus. Nous allons à présent vous donner les méditations des textes de ce matin pour notre édification spirituelle. Mais toutefois, il est bien de préciser qu'aujourd'hui, le 28 octobre de ce mois et chaque 28 octobre, l'Église célèbre la fête de Saint Simon et Jude. Saint Simon et Jude sont des apôtres de Jésus et ces apôtres ont été choisis parmi le groupe des disciples. En effet, Saint Simon que nous célébrons aujourd'hui est celui qu'on appelle le zélote et Saint Jude est le fils de Jacques tel que présenté dans la version de l'évangile selon Saint Luc, mais il est aussi appelé Thaddée dans la version de l'évangile selon Saint Marc et Saint Matthieu. L'Église reconnaît donc les œuvres remarquables de ces apôtres pour l'évangélisation du monde et surtout la proclamation de la bonne nouvelle pour le salut du monde. Ils ont répondu favorablement à son appel. Ils ont répondu à l'appel de Dieu et ils ont annoncé la bonne nouvelle au monde entier. En effet, ils intercèdent aussi pour nous auprès de notre Dieu. La preuve, nous considérons communément Saint Jude comme le saint patron des cas difficiles et désespérés. Nous sommes donc invités, chers fidèles téléspectateurs de Divine Mercy Television, à prier Dieu à travers les saints, surtout Saint Simon et Saint Jude, en ce jour où nous célébrons leur fête pour que le Seigneur nous aide, pour que le Seigneur entende notre prière. Également, nous allons vous présenter la méditation des textes. Et le texte que nous avons pour ce matin est tiré de l'évangile de Jésus-Christ selon Saint Luc, le chapitre 6, versets 12 à 19. Et nous allons juste prendre un extrait et je vais lire. En ce jour-là, Jésus s'en alla dans la montagne pour prier et il passa la nuit à prier Dieu. Le jour venu, il appela ses disciples, en choisit 12 et leur donna le nom d'apôtres. Simon, auquel il donna le nom de Pierre, André son frère, Jacques, Jean, Philippe, Barthélemy, Matthieu, Thomas, Jacques, fils d'Alphée, Simon appelé le Zélote, Jude, fils de Jacques, et Judas Iscariote, celui qui fut le traître. Jésus descendit de la montagne avec les 12 apôtres et s'arrêta dans la plaine. Fidèles téléspectateurs, le message clé de notre méditation de ce matin est le suivant. Mettre le Seigneur au cœur de la prise de notre décision est la garantie de notre succès. En d'autres termes, il faut toujours prier avant de prendre les décisions importantes ou de faire des pas qualificatifs. En effet, Jésus s'en alla dans la montagne pour prier Dieu. Et nous donnons la définition traditionnelle de la prière. La prière peut se définir comme l'élévation du cœur et de l'âme de l'homme vers son Dieu. Jésus prend donc un temps de silence, un moment de méditation et surtout un temps de discernement, un temps profond de prière pour faire le choix de ses apôtres, ses amis particuliers, des personnes avec lesquelles il devait confier la grande tâche, les personnes qui devaient porter la sémence du Verbe, la transmettre et la défendre, c'est-à-dire la bonne nouvelle. Quand nous prions, nous donnons la possibilité à Dieu d'agir dans notre vie, de diriger notre intelligence et de nous mettre sur le droit chemin. Concrètement, Dieu devient le maître de notre bateau, entre autres, le capitaine, car il nous conduit. De plus, la prière avant de prendre les décisions importantes nous assure aussi une certaine sécurité, car le Seigneur sera toujours avec nous pour nous défendre, pour nous assister et surtout pour nous consoler quand nous rencontrons des difficultés sur notre chemin. La grande question donc que nous devons nous poser ce matin est la suivante. Est-ce que nous prions? Est-ce que nous mettons Dieu au centre de la prise de nos décisions? Aujourd'hui, chers fidèles téléspectateurs, nous sommes invités non seulement à prier Dieu à travers les saints, surtout Saint Simon et Saint Jude, mais nous sommes aussi invités à mettre le Seigneur au cœur de notre prise de décision. Que Dieu nous donne la grâce de ne dépendre que de lui. Au nom du Père et du Fils et du Saint-Esprit. Amen.
Merci beaucoup mon Père ce matin de nous avoir donné cette réflexion du jour ou la méditation du jour qui s'est focalisée sur la prière et sur la vie de Saint Jude. Et juste à nous rappeler que comme sommaire, le Père nous a dit c'est important de prier. La prière est tellement importante. Avant de prendre n'importe quelle décision ou alors faire certains pas, c'est important de rentrer ou se soumettre entre les mains de Dieu à travers la prière, comme Jésus l'a fait, qui est quitté, s'est retiré du monde de ses apôtres et allait rester se confier en prière. Quelle que soit la décision ou les obstacles qu'on a au quotidien, c'est important de se retourner vers Dieu qui est le créateur du ciel et la terre et qui est la seule personne qui peut décider sur notre vie. Donc c'est important de toutefois rentrer et remettre tous ces obstacles, toutes ces décisions, tout ce qu'on doit faire entre les mains de Dieu. Merci beaucoup mon Père. Et une fois de plus, bienvenue à SALVE VICINUS.
Merci beaucoup, Joyce.
Okay, thank you so much, Father, for giving to us that morning reflection, which you took some excerpts on the life of St. Jude, whose feast day is being celebrated today. And Father just called on all Christians to always, at all times, and on every opportunity, go back to God in prayers and thanksgiving at every moment, and especially when you have to make some major decisions, just like Jesus did. He retracted, he left the apostles and went up to the mountain in prayers. So should we on daily basis, before taking any decision, before taking any move, always go back to God in prayers. Thank you so much, Father, and you're so much welcome again on SALVE VICINUS. We are so inspired by this soul-touching meditation which you brought to us this morning. And Father, since it is your first time on SALVE VICINUS,
Yes.
we did enjoy your reflection. We have a talking point every day. Today is culture. We talk culture on SALVE VICINUS today. And today we just choose to look at someone in your tribe, maybe in your village or in your locality, who is well popular. You know, we have, in my place, we have some people who are popular for their dance steps. Others are popular for the singing. So when you go back from your tribe or from your native, who is that one person whom, if you get into the community, you must notice?
Okay, that's a very interesting question. I knew of one person, and unfortunately he's of late, but most people still know him now. He was called Njong Shufai Stephen.
Okay.
Yes, was a very popular man, and he was also a principal of the Catholic school in Cambridge, that is St. Rita, St. Augustine too, yes. So he was a very renowned person, and many people enjoyed his leadership. And also at the level of the village, because he was an exemplary person and a fervent Christian.
All right. Okay, thank you so much, Father. Before we let go of you, you have to say Salve VICINUS, which is a loose translation from Latin, hello neighbor, to a couple of persons.
Okay, thank you very much. Salve Vicinus to all the Christians of Paroisse Saint-Michel-Archange de Boya. Salve Vicinus to my parents and friends who are actually right now in Douala. Salve Vicinus to my colleagues and brother priests who are in the house right now watching me at the Charles Luanga Parish, Moliko.
All right, thank you so much, Father. We take the rendezvous with you next time when you're available to inspire and motivate us with the morning reflection. Do have a happy weekend.
Thank you very much.
All right. Thank you so much, Father. If you're just tuning in, you're watching Salve VICINUS on Divine Mercy Radio Television. And today's edition, we are finding out from our viewers who is the most popular animator in your village. So you can send us SMS or WhatsApp or the other numbers which you find on your screen. You can also tell us where you live now, who is the most popular animator. And in the meantime, do not forget to wish a happy weekend to your loved ones, even if you do not want to participate on today's talking point. At this point in time, Yanick, I think we should get inspired from the life of a saint. I think it's Saint Jude, whose feast day is being celebrated today. Sister Florence is on standby to give us today's saint.
Good morning, dear brothers and sisters. Today is the 28th of October. Today, we are celebrating the feast of one of the most important saints in our church, the feast of Saint Simon and Jude. Saint Simon and Jude were apostles, and Saint Jude is the patron of desperate and impossible cases. Saint Simon is surnamed the Canaanite, a title given to him because of his great zeal, and also the zealot to distinguish him from Saint James the Less, and also because he belonged to a group among the Jews called the Zealots. He was martyred in Persia. Saint Jude, on the other hand, known as Thaddeus, was a brother of Saint James the Less and a relative of our Savior Jesus Christ. Ancient writers tell us that he preached the gospel in Judea, Samaria, Edomia, Syria, Mesopotamia, and Libya. He returned to Jerusalem and assisted at the election of his brother Simon as the Bishop of Jerusalem. Jude is the author of an epistle to the Church of the East, particularly the Jewish converts, directed against the heresies of the Somanian, Nicolaitans, and the Gnostic. He suffered martyrdom in Armenia, which was then the subject of Persia. Dear brothers and sisters, I am very, very excited. You can see me the way I'm dressed, because today is my most favorite saint's feast day, Feast of Saint Jude. I am so excited because this saint has proved his worth in the lives of many people. Patron of impossible and desperate cases. As we heard in the short history, not much is known about Saint Simon. Just the fact that he was an apostle and later died in Persia. But over the years, Saint Jude has intervened in people's life. That's why you have the devotion to Saint Jude spread all over the world because of the miracle, because of the intervention he does in people's life. One of the strongest apostolic group in our diocese, in short, in our church problem in Cameroon, is the Saint Jude Apostolate. And for those of you who know it, this is their uniform. So today, we are celebrating this great saint, Saint Jude, who has done so much for people. We have them in all our parishes. And people pray the devotion when things become so difficult. People ask Saint Jude to intervene, and he does. What about you? What about you? He does it for me. And many people have given testimony that he does it for them. How many of us are in parishes and we don't even bother to belong to any church group? We come on Sunday and after Mass we are gone. Today, I want to encourage you, brothers and sisters, to find any church group and join and become a member, especially as we celebrate the feast of St. Jude the Apostle today. As I told you, he is a patron of impossible and desperate cases. You see, after the death of his brother, Jesus Christ, not much was known about him because he shared the same name with Judas Iscariot. So people were misunderstood him for Judas Iscariot until later, when miracles were performed through his intercession, then his devotion spread as we have them today. The members of St. Jude are celebrating all over the world. And you will find them in your parish. So I want to encourage you. Even if you belong to another church group, to do the devotion to St. Jude, especially when things really become difficult. When everybody is giving up hope, if you call on St. Jude will intervene. That's the power given to him. He was an apostle, but not just an apostle, but a brother, a cousin to Jesus Christ. And they grew up in the same neighborhood. At one stage, if you read the life of St. Jude, they grew up in the same house. So Jesus Christ blessed his brother with extraordinary powers to intervene when things become impossible and desperate, to intervene when everybody is almost giving up. That is what we are celebrating today. That is the man we are celebrating today. We want to wish all the members of St. Jude Apostolate a very, very happy feast day as they celebrate their feast. But we will not go until we sing one song which the members of St. Jude sing all over the world. And I'm sure today, wherever they are gathered, they will sing this song. If you know the song, join me. To come to your altar, our faith brings us here. May God be with us. Is that our request? Oh, good Saint Jude, oh, good Saint Jude, we call on your name, your praise is loud, your people proclaim. Oh, good Saint Jude, oh, good Saint Jude, we call on your name, your praise is loud, your people proclaim. May God be with us. Saint Jude, we request. Oh, give what we ask, if it be the best. Oh, good Saint Jude, oh, good Saint Jude, we call on your name, your praise is loud, your people proclaim. Oh, good Saint Jude, oh, good Saint Jude, we call on your name, your praise is loud, your people proclaim. Saint Jude, please obtain us the grace that we need, and bring us God's strength, for which we now plead. Oh, good Saint Jude, oh, good Saint Jude, we call on your name, your praise is loud, your people proclaim. Oh, good Saint Jude, oh, good Saint Jude, we call on your name, your praise is loud, your people proclaim. Glory be to Jesus for all time. Amen. May God bless us as we enjoy the Feast of St. Jude today. Have a grace-filled day. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Sister Floresa Wambeng, so touching the presentation there of St. Jude, the patron saint of the hopeless and difficult, the hopeless souls and difficult persons. Of course, we are wishing all those who go by the name Jude a happy feast day. Of course, we want to, in a very special way, greet all the Christians of the St. Jude, the Thaddeus Parish, St. Jude Thaddeus Parish of mile 14. We are extending special greeting, mile 14 Bolifamba, with Reverend, the parish priest, Reverend Father NSA Pan. We're extending special greetings to all of you. In fact, mile 14, considering the cases, there is a lot for St. Jude, for us to pray for St. Jude there. We're also extending greetings to the Christians of St. Jude Parish, mile 16 Bolifamba. We're extending special greetings. My 14 is Dibanda and my 16 is Bolifamba. We're extending special greetings to all of you. With St. Jude, we all pray for our cases to be answered so well. Dear viewers, if you're just tuning in, you're on to SALVE VICINUS, and it is coming to you live from DMRTV. Remember, it is Cultural Friday. We're asking you the question, who is the most popular animator in your tribe or your culture? So think about those who animate the scenes and tell us. We're expecting your contributions. But first, we're going to treat you to what is making news across Cameroon and beyond. That is Divine Mercy Infos right after this break.
Hello and thanks for joining us on Divine Mercy Infos. I am Gillian Tatayenla for presentation. God's children of Monsignor Javis Kebi have celebrated this day in his impact in their lives as a spiritual father. This was in the context of his 35th anniversary at Small Support Cathedral in the presence of his brother priest, religious and lay faithful. Details with Father Alphonse Ekema.
At the premises of Small Support Cathedral, priests, religious, and godchildren are gathered to celebrate the 35th anniversary of a brother priest and spiritual father to many, Monsignor Jervis KB.
When a priest is called father, it really means he should strive to show the loving tenderness of God, the Father, to the flock entrusted to his care. Celebrating 35 years of Monsignor Jervis' priesthood, therefore, is celebrating 35 years of God's fidelity, God's bounty in allowing Monsignor Jervis to be a reflection of the fatherliness of God, expressed in different ways to God's children.
35 years in the ministry is a whole bulk of experience that has shaped the life and ministry of the celebrant.
35 years have not been a bed of roses. There have been ups and downs, but as I say, I braved them as they came. I was ordained here in Sopo. I worked for some time. I was working from Fiango, but at the bishop's house at the time, then moved to Muyuka. I went to Rome and came back, worked as youth chaplain and came as Bishop Rogan College rector. Those were years with their own challenges to the reality of the time.
Godchildren of Monsignor Jervis KB recount his active role in their lives, making them what they are today.
God has impacted so much in our lives. Like I said, I'm only representing a number of us. We're so many of us. We're a crowd. We will trouble him. But every time I think of him and I think of what I am today, I thank him for it. Ever since I knew him, he's the father figure that has been in my life. I knew him at a point in time when I was about backing off as a Christian child, but he encouraged me a lot, and my entire family has gone to know that he is the Father Jervis of my life. I am who I am today because of him.
Lessons from his priestly ministry are handed on to his brother priests through words of caution for their lives.
If you do your spiritual duties sincerely and assiduously, you will have your material rewards and your material needs taken care of. But sometimes, unfortunately, we are human. Some persons have concentrated on trying to gather for their material benefits. It derails and it distracts and it bemeans the life of the priest.
Celebrating the life and ministry of a priest is always a joyful experience and an inspiration to others who look up to the priest. Such is the case of Monsignor Jervis KB, who remains a mentor to many.
Affairs of the different media services in the diocese. This was during a one-day meeting that took place this Wednesday, October 26, 2022 at the Bishop's Conference Room. Our first Bunibe was part of the deliberations and now tells us more in the following report.
During his encounter with the 6 arms of communication in the Diocese of Boya, the prelate Michael Bibi acknowledged the efforts of all while declaring the main objective for calling a meeting of such caliber, namely making an appraisal of all the 6 arms involved in communication.
It's important for us, therefore, to have this meeting so that we can appraise the work that has been going on in the various communications departments that we have.
Most, if not all, participants expressed sentiments of gratitude to God for such a vital meeting, which was and remains the very first of its kind, involving all organs of communication.
I think this is a novelty. It's the first time all the organs of communication are coming together, and it has helped us to understand that communication is not only television and radio, and that we have the means of communication: bookshop, website, television, radio, printing press, and panorama. This is so wonderful, and everybody is living from here enriched by also understanding how the other organs are working.
Meanwhile, other participants emphasized on the need of proper marketing of the TV as well as the other arms of communication through aggressive publicity.
By my understanding, is packaging your good and taking it, effectively to, your clients. So for me, it is proper packaging, and that proper packaging will have a lot of other components. It depends on what your good, the commodity you have to sell.
Having elaborated profoundly on these different facets of communication for the betterment of the diocese, all were fulfilled as the future seemed to be somewhat promising.
There is a hope because it is necessary that it is important as we have come today to sit and assess ourselves to see how far we have gone and the challenges we've had and the lapses, and then to pick up from these mistakes or the challenges we have, we pick up the point we have deliberated here. It is actually work in progress. So after such evaluation, we just move to adopting some of the proposals which were given by the members of the committee.
In all, for every institution or service to be relevant, prominent, successful, as well as make progress, there is the need for frequent meetings as these.
Staff of Our Lady of Lourdes Gardens have been called to deliberate and present possible solutions that could better the working conditions and those of the students kept under their care. The proprietor of schools in the Diocese of Boya made the call during a meeting this Wednesday, October 26, 2022, after an inaugural mass in Limbe. Details in the following report.
The rhythms and colors that vibrated the Our Lady of Lourdes primary and secondary school gardens echoed across the city of Limbe. The bishop is on campus to commune with the learners and teachers, giving them moral and spiritual boost for a successful 2022-2023 academic year. The bishop will later commune with the key stakeholders of the institution, making appraisals of their activities and challenges, all in a bid to equip them for a successful academic year.
We have realized that our school is growing faster, most especially because of the nature of education we are providing. You know, as a Catholic institution, we provide a holistic education where we don't rely too much or only on academics, but we are also showing concern on the morals and other aspects of our students, so that by the time they leave here, they are going to be very productive in the society. The population is increasing seriously. We need more classrooms. We need benches. We need laboratories to be equipped, food and nutrition laboratory, the IT laboratory, the science laboratory. We need all that because practicals makes things perfect when you blend it with the theory. Normally, the bishop, as promised, is going to see what to do.
Teachers and school administration used the opportunity to express their challenges to the bishop, all in the spirit of having a suitable atmosphere to produce great results. The staff, students and pupils bid emotional farewell to the bishop with the hope of seeing him again.
Christians of St. Peter the Apostle Parish, Mordecai, have been called to remain humble so they can be exalted by God. The Bishop of the Diocese of Boya, His Lordship Michael Bibi, made the call recently while on a pastoral visit to the parish. Yanick FONKI now comes back to the major highlights of the visit.
St. Peter the Apostles Parish, Mordecai, is pregnant with many historical events, especially linked with the early missionary activities.
Mordecai is not just an ordinary parish, but that from Mordecai, the St. Jude Apostolate saw its origin.
From the nooks and crannies of Mordecai, the Christians have turned up in their numbers to welcome their bishop, who is making his visit to the parish for the opportune time.
The parish is at the heart of the bishop. The parish is at the heart of the bishop. The bishop made 5 visits last year, or let me say 2 years ago. He made 5 visits, and on the occasion of the last fundraising, the bishop himself was present, and he gave us his own donation.
In his homily, the chief shepherd exhorted the Christians to remain humble so they can be exalted by God.
Person will be humble, will take itself down. God will hear you pray.
The Christians promise to imbibe and translate the message in their daily lives so they remain exemplary children of God.
We need to humble ourselves for God to raise us up, because our motto is to serve and not to be served. So serving means you humbling yourself, and I think that is one of the things we as CWA members will like to always do and practice.
I, as a president of CMA members, those other members that are not here today, to get the humility, I will go back and then in our meetings preach humility to them, explain what actually humility is all about, so that they too can understand what is humility and then follow what our bishop has explained to us.
A fundraising ceremony to erect a befitting sanctuary for the church crowned the bishop's pastoral visit.
Dwelling on the topic of disillusion and sadness, which is sometimes considered to be a negative experience, Pope Francis continued his weekly catechesis on Wednesday, October 26, 2022, by indicating some important aspects for spiritual growth. More insight on this with Reverend Father Michael Njumo.
The Holy Father Francis focused his catechesis during the Wednesday general audience on the first effective mode and an object of discernment, desolation. Recalling the spiritual exercises of St. Ignatius of Loyola, Pope Francis said, desolation can be defined as darkness of soul and disturbance in it, movement to things low and earthly, unquiet of different agitations and temptations. He noted that all of us have experienced desolation in some way, but the problem we face is how to interpret it.
Stesso delle volte lavora come semaforo, fermati, fermati. È rosso qui, fermati. Sono triste, c'è qualcosa lì.
The Pope further recalled the Gospel's reminder that the road to goodness is narrow and uphill, requiring combat and self-conquest. He urged those who wished to serve God not to be led astray by desolation and not to make serious decisions without understanding the sadness caused by desolation.
Una regola saggia dice di non fare cambiamenti quando si è desolati.
He continued to urge the people to always seek spiritual guidance in such moments and hope for God's grace to save them from moments of sadness and desolation.
As the world continues to evolve, Cameroon joins the world this Thursday, October 27, to reflect on the audiovisual heritage, as it is noticed that the analog television and radio have stood the test of time. Due to some electrical challenges, some people still prefer to use the analog radio and television than the digital ones. Marion Genyi tells us more.
Within a remarkable short time, the analog TV and radio sets have shifted from scientific inventions to items of domestic modernity. Obsolete and heritage items overtaken by digital convergence. The days of analog terrestrial TV sets with valves and cathode ray tubes in bulky consoles are over.
This CD cassette, you cannot play on a normal radio. You can, because it's a video. You can only play it on a video radio. That plays a video CD that you can see on your screen of the car radio. So that is the difference. So if you put this one in a normal radio, you can never see a video on it and you will never even read. Those are the difference. So meaning the normal radio can only play an audio CD. An audio CD cannot play video radio.
However, many still prefer to have analog TV in their living rooms, attributing resistance and a number of other factors to the reason.
For the analog TV, we want to say that it really lasts. It's one of a kind. It is long-lasting, and we just want to encourage the population out there not to think that it is old, because it is still one of the best. I thought because one like me, I have the Chinese type. I cannot watch TV in my house because of maybe low voltage. But with the analog,
preparers to host some of these analog items in their shop, but intimated that a number of factors inform the decisions of buyers of this product.
Yeah, the difference between this, we call this normal